Welcome to the Bleep Bulimia podcast with guest Benjamin, the Dream Wizard, part 2 on handwriting analysis.
Yeah.
You're comfortable
And then,
with that, go
and then
for
again,
it.
too, some
If you
people
don't
could
have
be
to fight
in
for your
denial, but
life with the low,
yeah.
medium self-esteem, go for it. But there's also sometimes, like in your handwriting, you have combinations though that would, if you were in any sort of battle where there might be a self-esteem issue, you don't have any issue with it. Okay, so look at your eyes and how you dot them.
Oh, yeah. I'll get a little, there's a little
It's a
whip.
tick. It
Yeah.
whips across.
Yeah.
That's the temperament. Don't mess with you. Don't
That's
mess with you.
I describe myself as exactly that way. People are like, well, Ben, what do you like? I'm pretty chill. Don't fuck with me. Just don't fuck with me, and we're gonna get along just fine. Do not fuck around. You will not find out.
And if you look, I'm sitting there going, yeah, that's pretty consistent. That's pretty well on all your eyes. Like, yeah.
And also because I'm going to the next letter really fast too. So there's like, shit, let's get to the next line.
Yeah. Now here's another thing too, because we're talking about handwriting. If there's the dot on the I is absent, it means absent-minded. And if the dot in the I is very perfect and close to the top, it means loyalty. So anybody who's dating out there and you want to do your handwriting analysis for the potential date, if they have an I where the dot's perfect on and close to the I, that's loyalty. If they have a big circle around the I, it means they're unique and they want to be noticed.
Ah, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, very cool. That's and immediately I thought back to the very kind of pretty bubbly writing of like teenage girls when I was in middle school, and the big, and sometimes they put a heart, was dotting on top of that. I had another thought too on the I don't know, it was the don't chill but don't mess with me type of thing, and the slash on the I. Oh, I had another thought. It's gone. What else were you saying right after that? You talked about the tick, and then I had a point. I had something gone. Absent-minded.
Yeah, because I was telling you, no, don't mess with you. So even if your self-esteem might be at a 5 and you're comfortable with that, and that's great, but don't mess with you. I think your self-esteem, your self-confidence flows out then.
Yeah. Well, because I have a very strong, so the idea of loyalty and principle.
Yeah.
I'm like extremely loyal, but that's contingent upon reciprocal loyalty. You know, if there's a betrayal, all bets are off. That's principle is you're not treating me well, and this is not happening. So
that's
maybe
human
that was
nature, I think, though.
Yeah, as it should be. And then that's if you got healthy boundaries, that's exactly how you should. There is a righteous anger. There's a wrathful desire to harm, a vengeful anger, and then there's a righteous anger of like, I'm being treated poorly and this pisses me off. It should. I did want to, this is me being maybe needing to not forget what I was going to say or cover things. So sometimes excessively imaginative, I think I mentioned that in terms of my brain goes a million directions at once, could result in unwarranted trust of others, a form of gullibility. I take people as they are. And that means sometimes if people are actively being deceptive, it can be difficult for me to tell. If someone came on my show and told me they had a dream, I wouldn't be suspicious that they were making it up to embarrass me. And they might be, and that might be their goal, and they might accomplish that goal. And I would take it all seriously because I'd be like, okay, I have decided to view this scenario as one thing and not to question that.
Wow.
Anyway, that was just the first example that came to mind.
Yeah.
No, but that's in a specific context. I mean, then again, there's I had an interesting thing happen recently where this is kind of my accepting, tolerant, patient, yada yada, a lot of things I would use to describe myself. So I had a guy message me and he's like, hey, do you want more subscribers on your YouTube? I'm like, I don't have the budget for that because I think it's an advertisement. He's like, no charge. I'm like, I will take free help. Maybe he's a fan. And so he sent me screenshots of subscribing to my channel on multiple of his different YouTube accounts. I'm like, hey, thanks for that. So he's kind of botting it in a way, but they're all him. And if he wants to subscribe, I'm not going to argue. And then he said, I need your help. I need you to leave a review on my travel website. I have a business. And I'm like, I haven't used your service. I don't know that I can do that. He's like, come on, bro. I helped you out. And after a few back and forths of me trying to politely decline, I just blocked him. I'm like, I gave you the benefit of the doubt. And now, because I went and I looked and like, would I use this service? I'm like, my excuse, and it's true. I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to do this because I don't know this guy. I don't want to put my name on something just in case. I don't want to mislead anyone, even if it's not about my pride or my reputation. So I went and I looked at it, and there were positive reviews, but if he's soliciting them, like from me, hey, just say something nice, then I can't trust any of them. So I look for the negative ones, and they're like, I booked a flight with this guy and he charged me 3,000 and then another 5,000 later. And I'm like, those are no way flights are, and those are very round numbers to be just, so the people were saying he'll just clean out your bank account. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to block this guy. I don't know anything about this. So I have that. I extend that trust in the beginning. I'm like, hey, maybe this guy's a fan. I give the benefit of the doubt. And then, I almost got suckered into, giving a false review to a scammer. If that's the case, maybe he's a great guy and I'm completely wrong. And, but that's what it looked like to me. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. So
that
was the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah. No, so many things like that out there. It's really sad. Really,
it is.
Really
well, and then that goes to the next line. You like to maintain your integrity. Definitely. I do not want to be a hypocrite. I want to do the right thing whenever possible. So what, maybe while we're on those lines, what looked at maintaining integrity, which letters or combinations spoke to that?
Oh, good. I told you I didn't have all my notes. That was one that I have to really look up because I thought that might have been the D I was looking at.
Oh, maybe.
We're insane. And I went searching for it everywhere. And I think that was the rounded part, not the tick part. The tick part's
Gotcha.
not, that's like a little kind of anger note. But I think that was the one, because that's one that I never seen before. And even to maintain your integrity, it was a new thing for me because I thought, wow. And, as a handwriting analyst, obviously we don't know everything. I mean, I can't, unlike you with the dreams, I need to, for the most part, I can look, I know the O's, I know the T's, I know the 52 different characteristics that are there, but every now and again, one comes up. It was like my son, he used to write his N, and it would be like a normal N, but the back end of it was looped like, it fell in and then out again. Oh. And I asked about that, and my mentor, beautiful Doc Grayson, I miss him horribly. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he said to me, it's like when you knock someone in the back of the knees and how you fall back. It's a sense of his instability.
Oh, yeah.
So all these things have, but not all letters are like everything that I studied. So I have to go look for them. And I'm pretty sure that's what I thought. I really researched that D like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm fascinated by the history of certain disciplines. I'm doing all the historical dream book reproductions. What is the history of handwriting analysis? When did that really kind of become cohere? Was it late 1800s, early 1900s?
It was, the late 1800s. I think it was 1892. And then
it was like a golden age, right around
Walker
there.
wrote the book. He wrote a book in the early 1900s. It became more of a science. And I mean, some people will go, oh, is that psychic? It's not psychic because I can't tell you your future. I can help you sometimes maybe with your future by helping you change your handwriting if there's horrible things that you keep living in. But I know some countries believe that is futuristic. It's not. You can tell someone's character and you can tell some of their past, but you can't tell their future. I mean, I don't know who you're going to be in the future, right? So
we are changed by our experiences and by our choices. Yeah. And we change on purpose. We make decisions.
Yeah. And the first books, my mother had 2 of them. I still have them. I read them when I was like 9, 10 years old, and I was fascinated. And then when I hired I think we talked about this, when I hired my nannies, there were 3 of them, 3 pictures. I put the pictures aside. There were handwritten letters. I went through all 3 of them. One of them was written in different slants. So we're talking right to the left, right to the top, right to the right, which means they have different personalities. And I went, no, she's out.
Yeah.
And then the next one, the next one wrote titty bitty bitty bitty, and I'm going, oh my goodness, very detailed. My kids don't want very detailed. Put that aside. And the third one wrote big and big in the center, which meant that she lived for the life, but it was very straight up and down. So it meant that she was very she wasn't overly emotional. She could be very, like, if there was an emotional state, she could take care of it, which is what I want. So someone who has fun in the day, but also has a very good notion of if there's any emergency, she'll know how to deal with it.
Very cool.
And funny thing is, out of those 3 pictures, 2 were cute little ones, and one looked like you wanted to, like, she was like purple hair and short and everything. That was the one I picked.
There you go. Yeah.
And I hired her, and for 2 years, and now she's a teacher with 3 kids, and she stayed with us. She was only supposed to stay for 1 year. She stayed for 2. My kids cried when she left. So what do they say? Never judge a book by its cover, and handwriting analysis gives you the opportunity to look beyond that, right? Because somebody can come up to you and seem totally perfect and be really nice to you, and there's like, this gives you indication. Are they honest? Are they,
well, it's definitely a good. So what I've had conversations with people recently about the idea of is someone doing something wrong, or is it just a matter of the right fit? And both can be relevant. So long story short on this, there was another podcast I was watching, and this person on there had a personality that was she was very sarcastic and condescending and kind of verbally aggressive. And there was some theorizing among the discussion from the viewers that she was probably, in their estimation, abusive towards her significant other. And I'm like, well, unless he likes it. And they're like, what do you mean he likes being abused? Like, well, unless that's how they do their thing. They're kind of aggressive with each other, and they got a back and forth, and it's witty and a little mean, but it works for them. And some of the folks I was talking to, they just didn't like her. And I'm like, no, she's probably just a B word or whatever. Like, maybe she is, and maybe that's what he likes. I don't know. But if it's not, he's not. As my comment was, I suspect he's given as good as he gets, and that's how they like to do their thing. So getting into this thing, it's like there might have been households where those other nannies were the right fit, because the parents wanted a very detail oriented by the book, and they get that gal with the small letters, and she's going to fit in just fine. Not right for your style, not right for your kids. So that gives you just another tool to say, how can I make a good decision about what's going to work best for me? Yeah.
I think the one though with the shifted personalities would be scarier to have as a nanny though.
Yeah, that might not work for anybody. If you never know what you're going to get the next time she opens her mouth. Yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah, that you're waking up every morning with a different person that you don't know who she's going to be. That's not what you want. And I feel bad for those people. I mean, it's not, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying anything mean, but it wouldn't be anything. And this young girl obviously was going through something, right? And God forbid, her parents probably don't know she's going through something. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? And probably didn't get help, because she was like, they were 18 years old. Right, 17, 18. And that's where the other thing too, I mean, I'm not going to write to the people and say, well, I didn't choose this one, but can you please get her help? Like, that can't do that. Like, this is just an interview process.
Well, what you could do though is you could recommend that to her and say, hey, I for reasons I suspect you might have some need of talking to someone who can maybe help you sort some things out.
You're
and so it would give you that. The first thing you thought of when you said shifting some multiple personalities, in a sense, I thought of not dissociative identity disorder, which is its own thing. Like, those are, you disassociate and a different person appears to come through, but more along the line of borderline personality disorder, which is an unregulated, unstable, you do shift. Now I'm not going to diagnose one gal based on a secondhand handwriting analysis and then your assumption of that and then your description of it to me. But it's the first thing that popped into my head. And you're kind of confirming that in a little way of like, so this is a gal that's going through something. She's a lot of times and it's mostly women, we develop these but it can be men too. We develop these borderline personality disorder because our home life has been unstable. We have not been able to form a stable personality because we've not been able to be consistent, to be stable at home, and to reinforce that with ourselves and know what we're going to get from our parents. So it's all very often a not a congenital passed down, but definitely behaviorally, like a cycle of abuse type of thing passed down generation. You got a borderline mother, she has a borderline daughter, and it continues like that. And that often happens too as a result of child abuse, physical or sexual. It destabilizes that personality. What am I? Am I this object being used, or am I this person? Am I going to be hurt by the next person who comes along? So yeah, I mean, to pull all that out from the handwriting analysis, and then you know your boundaries, and you can maybe give them good advice.
Now here's the thing is that was, whoa. Let me see, how old is my son now? That would have been like 25 years ago. Well, we didn't have any of this. We didn't have the communication. We didn't have the knowledge. I didn't know about what you were talking, bipolar. I didn't know about personality disassociation. I mean, I know it now. I mean, I had a niece that went through some stuff. So all these things are now because social media, but back in what was it? 1997, 98, we didn't have that stuff.
I was just dipping my toes in the water as psychology at that point. That was the kind of beginning of my beginning of my journey was probably reading a lot of books and having a lot of thoughts. And it says you desire to acquire knowledge was the other. It's the last bit of that paragraph. And I would say this last 5-10 minutes of discussion shows, yes, I think it's very true. I immediately identified with that statement, but also why? I mean, why do people want to acquire knowledge? I want to give good advice. If I can, I want to explain things to other people to help them. I want to know it for myself. So when I'm arguing with folks, and I'd probably do that. It's funny. My shows on YouTube are not argumentative. I'm not here to debate. I don't do verbal debate well anyway. But it's very collaborative and team oriented, where we're doing this together. We've got a common goal. The acquisition of knowledge thing is like, I don't want to be right. I'm not looking for the classic contention, rivalry was between the Socratics and the Sophists. And sophistry is just win by any means, persuade the crowd, make your opponent look dumb and stupid or ignorant, and be more persuasive, and therefore you're right because more people believe you. I think that's unethical. That's the integrity side of things as well. But I want to know what is true. I don't want it to be true because I said so. I don't think anything is true because an authority figure says it. I think I'm a big believer in the logical fallacy side of things, that if you're engaged in a logical fallacy while you're making an argument, you may not necessarily be wrong, but definitely you're right for the wrong reason if you are right. So I don't want to be right as much as I want to know what is right. So that's kind of the root of my chasing of all this knowledge. What is truth in this instance? What is real? So that's me.
So, and then we went through the T-bars, fluidity of thought. It's when anything kind of looks like a shape of an 8. So you do and I wish I had my original notes. Like I told you, I can't find them because I circled all of one, so it's easier for me to find.
Yeah.
Let me find that one. And you do have a couple of them. You have about 3 of them in. So we were talking about 2. There's 3 or more. It's definitely part of your personality. Whether it comes and goes, it's there.
Gotcha.
So where was that one? I had a few of them and I can't find them now.
That's all right. What is
so that would be where anything flows, like whether it's an F or a G. There you go, under neighbors, you'll see it there, which is I think page 2. Yeah, page 2.
Okay, I should pull these out.
Put all my notes in one sleeve. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you can see, it loops
Oh,
around.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's where you can fluidly move, and you have a few of them in there. I did circle them all, but they're harder to find.
Yeah.
And that definitely is you, because I know when I was on your show, I mean, you could just fluidly go through from one thought to another. So they just all merge together. I always think of it like a little mermaid kind of thing. It's just like the way
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, is it just fluidity? Of course, brings a lot of associations to mind. Like first thing I think of is Bruce Lee. Be like water, my friend. Water, you pour it into a cup, it becomes the cup.
Yeah. So
I
it moves
very
from
much
one thought
identify
to
with that.
another, from one image to another, and you just flow through it. Like your thoughts can flow. Some people are very rigid and they can't do that.
Yeah, I was going to ask what the dichotomy was. So there's a rigidity and a fluidity. It's more like solid and liquid.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's very true.
A lot of people who have fluidity of thought are also more creative, or more so artistic, which could be artistic. You don't have to be painting, but like it can be writing. It could be, and all that's like, that's what artistry is also being a writer.
Well, that works for me too. Is that's what I'm trying to be. I mean, I have an odd thing where you think of, or maybe this is me, but I think there's a trope of the artist, which is chaotic energy.
Yes.
It is an explosion of the unknown, the unformed, and it just kind of happens. And there is that, but I'm more of a systematic artist in a way. Then that's reflected in my approach to things. So what am I doing before I write my own first original work? I'm editing 20 other books to really refine that process. Now I'm bringing creativity to my editing. I have to make the pages look pretty to view. I've got to space things properly. I've got to make sure sentences flow right. So I've got this very constructive approach to modify, and then there's the formatting of the thing, and how do I do the chapter headings, and how do I break up paragraphs so that they flow on the page right, and you don't have the end of a paragraph is one word that goes on to the next page. No, I'm going to reformat that whole thing somehow to get that one word off the top of the next line. That's stupid. I can't do it. So I've got this kind of systematic chaos type of thing, this contradiction going in my head of how I do creativity. And then even with, my first kind of quasi original production is going to be a Wizard's Guide to Aesop's Fables. And that's in process right now. And so I'm going through and cleaning up each of the fables to make them read nicely, because some of them have run-on sentences that are unbelievably wonky. And it's like, if you read it out loud, you can kind of give it an inflection. But if someone's reading it to themselves, I'm like, you lost me halfway through that. Who's doing what and why? And so I actually take long sentences and break them up into shorter sentences. So it's the editing process. Then on each page, it's going to be, okay, here's the kind of psychological principles that we understand are real today, scientifically, that relate to this story. So you got 2,000-year-old wisdom almost at this point. Well, they say he lived in the 6th century, or was it 6th century BC? I'm going to need to look that up. AD or BC? I think
Aesop,
Aesop.
I don't remember.
Well, we think Greek and Roman times. So it's 2,000 years old at least. But it's like people say, people are different in modern times. I hear that sometimes. I'm like, no, humans, in my estimation, humans haven't changed in 10,000 years. Honestly, we are, evolution doesn't happen that quickly, and technology doesn't actually affect evolution the way some people think it does. We have new tools. We have the same hands,
You got Plato writing about, I think it was Plato. Could have been, it was his time anyway, talking about how children, like, if you look at the thing, did you read that? It sounds just like what parents are talking about. There's what the generation said about that one, what the generation before.
Kids these days have no respect for their elders and tradition.
Saying the same thing every generation.
Now, which is the funny part? It's like, so if you've never considered that before, and then it suddenly strikes you that, wow, these kids are punks. They don't. You finally get old enough where you're like, I'm not a kid anymore. They should respect me, and they don't. And then you think back, oh, I didn't either. And then you go, oh wow, someone had this same thought 2000. Then you start looking at the stability of human nature. It is human nature to be for children to test boundaries and to challenge the assumptions of tradition. It's kind of their job. And then you change and this is kind of where I don't view society as a noun. There is no such thing in my estimation. There is no society. society is actually a verb. It is the act of socializing, being social with other people, living in a social dynamic. That said, the broader collection of humanity, we do need the adaptive function of looking at things, saying, okay, this works, let's keep it. This is broken. Now what do we do about it? And there's a lot of things. We can change nothing because we don't know what to do. We can change everything because it's a complete mess. We can change a little here and a little there. Now, how does that affect other things? And we might have to adjust the balance and say, well, if we change that, we got to change this too, because those were built on related foundations. I was going somewhere with all of this. Oh, but it is actually, now that, this is why I want to go back and do the Aesop's thing, which was tie it back in. All of it, we've known these things, and about how humans tend to respond. Tortoise and the hare is a great one. It's like, if you get overconfident, even if you are better physically than someone else, their determination can win the race because you slacked off. Really, it's a warning to people who are like rabbits, the hares.
The tortoise and the hare. My God, my dad said that I was the tortoise. And sorry to interject, but really quickly, I don't know, somewhere in the Orient, I'm sorry, I don't know if it was Japan or China, but they literally had a tortoise and a hare race. This is recently, it's on video somewhere. I wish I had downloaded it.
Yeah.
And darn right, the tortoise won the race. The little rabbit was going, and the owner of the rabbit was sitting there going, come on.
Yeah.
Just like, and the tortoise walks across. And I thought, oh my goodness. I said,
that's
thank you,
amazing.
Dad, for calling me the tortoise, because I will embrace. I don't know
that
where I'm going to end it, but
now, you know what? And that's the other thing too, is a lot of people, well, I say this all the time. There's a certain conception that this artist anthropomorphized animals, when really he was talking about people. And he might have actually, this which is a brilliant conception, he might have actually said, look at these animals. Look at how a hare is very fast, but he's all over the place. He's squirrely, and he doesn't go in a straight line towards a definite goal. But the tortoise will plod along in a straight line, and he'll get there before the rabbit, because the rabbit's all over the place, can't stay focused. So he might have actually said, wow, that's like, I know people like that. Wait, let me tell a story to these people so they can see themselves in these animals. There's what you said, the Orient. There's a long tradition in the East of understanding humans through animal examples, and then even to the point of developing, tiger style, crane style, snake style kung fu. Let's use human abilities that mimic the way animals move, because they found a very powerful mode of interacting with their environment that's very successful.
I love that.
I love that. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to visit me at bleepbulimia.com.